if you're ordering direct, I have enough margin to offer you a direct discount, and that's something which is a direct benefit to the customers. Most of the time, we don't even charge delivery charges. Sometimes we may charge a little bit, which in case of aggregator, you're compelled to pay.
Okay. Of course, today we have with us Mr. Anurag Kachriar, who's the president of the National Restaurant Association of India, and of course, also the managing director of Bigastibus Hospitality. And Mr. Kachriar comes to us, he's taken out time very kindly, and to discuss the extremely crucial aspect of direct deliveries from restaurants. So, Mr. Kachriar, sir, I'll start with the first question. So home deliveries have become a mainstay for, most restaurants, of course, at the moment, given the situation. So what kind of a role is home delivery playing in, shoring up restaurants and helping them cope with all the restrictions that we're undergoing because of the pandemic?
So I think, as you are aware, in most parts of the country, the restaurant running timings have been very restricted. Like in Mumbai, it's only till 4 p.m. Few other cities are on till 8 p.m. But by and large, except a couple of cities, most places are not operating for dinner. Now, in that case, whatever is the demand for dinner can only be fulfilled through home deliveries. And that's where they are playing a very critical role. I keep repeating to everyone that home delivery can never become a substitute for dine-in business for any restaurant. That's never possible. But under the circumstances, it's definitely something which is keeping us going, is bringing in some kind of cash flows. Profitable or not is another story, but it is helping us bring some revenues to the restaurant. It is critical for now, and we also realize that under these uncertain times, probably delivery is the only business which is kind of insulated against the market vagaries.
Right. So then on to the next question, which is now, like you mentioned, that the conversation has been happening for a while about the need to order directly. Now, this is because aggregator platforms are demanding margins which are unreasonable, which are unviable actually. So can you tell us a little bit about what this conflict is exactly?
So the conflict one is, of course, commercial that you mentioned. If you look at the overall spend that a brand has to do to remain even remotely relevant on these platforms. Now that includes platform marketing charges, the cost of the discount, which is largely borne by the restaurant, if not entirely, and of course the high commission rate. This all adds up to anything from 35 to 40%. Now obviously this business model doesn't support that kind of a margin to be given to the third-party aggregators because then it's an unviable business that we are running. And that is probably at the core of our conflict. Of course, there are other things which are non-commercial but very critical. For example, lack of data sharing. For example, bundling up of all services. Today, if you want to just, find yourself on the aggregator platform, you can't do it just like you would do with another marketplace. You have to buy their entire bouquet of service from discovery to delivery. Otherwise, they will not even list you. Now, that's something which is against the basic grain of free marketplace. And these are some of the non-commercial concerns we have. And this is what has led to what I call the order direct movement, which I must say is gaining huge momentum in last few months, and more people are adapting to it. Here, what happens that 40% cost probably becomes just 5-7%. And that's a huge margin to save on every order. At least you are profitable with these orders. Most of the time with aggregator orders, unless the order value is very huge, you are not even profitable.
Understood. And so if you were to elaborate a little more about, say, for the customer, for them, what is it in it for them to order straight from restaurants? What does it mean for the, of course, like you mentioned, for the restaurants' bottom lines and survival, it's important. But, and like you mentioned, of course, the margin difference is huge. There are massive advantages in terms of even data from the customers. But what about the customers? What's in it for them?
So you have to understand there is always an emotional connect between a restaurant and its consumers. Everybody has their favorite restaurants, they have their favorite dishes, favorite tables, favorite waiters, favorite chefs. And I think we are trying to rekindle that emotional attachment again. Now, for customers, what happens very clearly is if you're ordering direct, I have enough margin to offer you a direct discount. And that's something which is a direct benefit to the customers. Most of the time, we don't even charge delivery charges. Sometimes we may charge a little bit, which in case of aggregator, you're compelled to pay. And last but not the least, the amount of customization you can do when you're ordering direct, no aggregator platform can allow you that. So these are some of the benefits which is there for the customers when they order, with my grilled chicken, I don't need mashed potatoes, can you give me French fries? This is possible. When you're ordering on aggregator platform, you probably need to order another dish for that. So here on, and when we know whom we are serving and they are regular customers, we also know their likes and dislikes, and we can delight them in more than one way. It is not only about discounts, it's about delighting them in other ways. I'll give you an example which happened in my restaurant. So, my restaurant received a direct order from a guest who was very regular with us till the time the pandemic hit us. And when my manager saw the order, he realized that there is one dish that the father of this guy used to love, which was not on the order list. He just made a small portion of sent it over. And that gentleman called me and he said, I can't tell you what I'm feeling. My dad had just gotten out of COVID. We were not sure whether we should order anything or not. And here you guys have sent me his favorite 3 tomato risotto. And that is the kind of delight which will never happen if you're ordering from an aggregator platform, because there I don't know. My regular customers become another unknown order number. And that's when lots of things cannot happen. These are some of the benefits that customers have when they order directly with them.
Right. That's a lovely example. Thank you for sharing that with us. And so my final question, of course, to you is, so at Traveldine, we are undertaking this campaign, which is called Straight from Restaurants. Now, here we have a microsite where we've tied up with a bunch of restaurants across different cities in India. What we're doing is we are highlighting the different kind of food options, the menus. We are talking to personalities such as yourself, who's telling us about the importance of direct delivery. And we're trying to reach out to diners across the country so as to give importance as to the whole movement of direct delivery. Would you like to say something to our readers or social media followers on this kind of a campaign?
Oh, it's a beautiful campaign. I'll tell you what you're doing is something very, very critical. The biggest advantage that aggregator has over order direct right now is that they can trigger discovery. And you are in a way solving that, because somebody can go to your microsite and discover their favorite restaurant, which is very, very huge. And I think it's an extension of the order direct movement. And I cannot thank you enough on behalf of the fraternity for taking it over, because this is the way out. The current aggregator model very clearly is very flawed, because nobody is making money in it. Neither the aggregators nor the restaurants. And I think you are playing a very critical role in making sure that at least one party in that, which is the restaurants, they become a little more profitable. So thank you for that.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. And thank you so much for joining us again. Thanks for taking time out for this. Here's hoping that the direct delivery movement gains more and more momentum and it becomes viable and like you mentioned, a much better experience for everyone.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it will reach there, because even before the aggregators came in, people used to order them. The only difference is they brought in the comfort and the convenience of ordering through an app, which can be solved through the use of your microsite for discovery and lots of third-party people who are there to give the customer the same experience as they have with an app while ordering or tracking their orders or making payments, so on and so forth. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for taking time out.